Hey guys, so one of the most common things that I hear from clients who come to my office is they feel like they've constantly started over with their retirement because they've been experiencing losses. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today was how we can safeguard against those losses and really try and build a plan that works under all circumstances, not just the ideal market ones. So the bulk of the people that we work with, it seems like, are those who are over the age of maybe 40 or 50 or maybe even 60 years old. And what we've heard from them over the years is when a market has a major correction, they're starting over. If you look statistically at what the market's done over the last 2 decades, it's been phenomenal. We've made a lot of money inside the market. However, what we've experienced since about the year 2000 and on is these large periods of growth followed by a large downturn. And the unfortunate circumstance there is that when we have this big growth situation, which then gets wiped out because of a loss, we're starting over. And we have maybe 5 or 6 or 7 years just to get back to where we were. And in the financial world, we call that a lost opportunity cost, meaning that we've spent 6 years of rebuilding just to get back to where we were. So one of the things we wanted to talk about today was how we can try and safeguard a portion of our assets so that if something goes wrong, we're going to be financially okay. And if you look at what the market's done over the last few decades, the problem is that we don't know what it's going to do in the next few decades. And that becomes a concern, maybe not so much when you're in your 20s or 30s or 40s, but for those who are in their early, or let's say early 50s or 60s or maybe even late 40s, you can't really control what's going to happen in a decade, but you know that you want to be done working in a decade or maybe 2 decades. And we call that a sequence of return risk. And so what we've seen over the years is there needs to be a portion or a position that we're in for a portion of our assets to be somewhere safe, so that if the market has a downturn, we aren't experiencing the losses with that portion of our money. And the reason why it's become so important is just a really good story that I think everyone understands, that we might have heard when you were younger. Everyone knows the story of the tortoise and the hare. In the story of the tortoise and the hare, there was one character who would just race ahead as fast as they could and then stop, maybe take their foot off the gas. And I kind of see that like the market, where it goes up really high and then it comes right back down, right? And then there was another character, the tortoise. And the tortoise was just slow and steady. Just no matter what happened, was constantly working hard to try and get to the end of the race. And if we take that same concept and we apply it to our financial world, what we've seen is slow and steady wins the race. Because the reality is, it's not so much what you make in any given year that will really change your financial world. What really matters, what's really going to have an impact for you over time, is what you keep year after year after year. So we as an organization, we focus on strategies that can safeguard what you make. And once that money is there in your account, once you've been credited money or you've earned interest, that's part of your account. And so from that point forward, that becomes your new high watermark, and nothing can ever take that money away from you ever again. So we don't have to worry about, well, will the market be crashing when I retire? And when I mentioned that a moment ago about the sequence of return risk, if you take just an average portfolio, let's just say over the last 15 years, we don't need exact numbers, but just from a conceptual standpoint, if we take the last 15 years, and you just look at what the numbers did, you can average them out, and you can see that maybe, let's just say that the market averaged 8%. However, when you're accumulating your money, we care about the averages because it just lets us know if we're on track. We're averaging 7 or 8 or 10%. That makes us feel really good. But as we all know, if we look at a chart of the market over time, an average return and an actual return are two very different things, because one is steady and one fluctuates, goes up and it goes down. And why that matters is that we can look at a 15-year window and we can say, well, this family retired, let's say in the year 1995. I'm just making up numbers from a concept standpoint. But if they retired in 1995 and the market was up, well, they could pull money out of their retirement for as long as they want, because the market's performing and their, let's call it a 4% distribution, isn't really having a negative impact on their portfolio because the market is outperforming the 4% they're pulling out. However, if we take that same 15-year window and flip it around, and let's say the last year of those 15 years was a downturn, and a different family then retired at the beginning of a downturn, and the market is down 20% when they retire, and now they have to take out another 4% in order to pay their bills while they're retired. Well, now we're just compounding our losses because we've had a downturn in the market, plus we've taken out some money of our own. And what happens is the principal that's left over in our account gets smaller and smaller. And over time, that sequence of returns really matters. And the problem is, unfortunately, we can't call what the market will be doing in 15 years when you retire. So what we try and do as a firm is we focus on concepts and strategies and products where we don't have to worry about that. If the market is up when we retire, fantastic, then we'll be making money. If the market is down when we retire, fantastic, because our money is safe, it's insured, it's contractually guaranteed. We don't have to worry about it going anywhere. So that's a really important thing for people to understand. If that's something that you're curious about, we can talk more about it. Click on the link and we'd love to talk to you.